chairs. Everyone we've interviewed has said these are actually the best chairs I've ever used.
Yeah, rehearsal day, we were kind of walking around in the group stage place and sitting on the chairs in the stage, and they were so comfortable. We were like bringing in people that were walking by like, oh, you gotta sit on these chairs, they're so great.
Yep. And that's only half the list. We've got Miso Zhu, OP Skins, New Space, CIPC, and Gaming Cafe in Montreal. So many sponsors here to support Canada's biggest Dota 2 LAN in history. That's good stuff to see.
Yeah, Gaming Cafe.
Gaming
nice.
Cafe.
We got LAN cafes.
Apparently so.
That's why you got to tell them.
Yeah, you got to get the word out, right? All right, folks, we've got the Game 1 draft ready to rock and roll. Let's hop into it and see what these teams are working on. Okay, so here we go. Venomancer Coddle banned out by NP. Naga Siren Shadow Demon, the first bans for Wings. It is, of course, a first pick Drow Ranger, as you called Trent, but Wings already with a curveball. First pick Clockwork into a Warlock there.
Okay, well, the beginning of Warlock, I believe, we saw a little bit like counter into towards the Shadow Demon and the illusions and everything, but the other big strategy was the Drow strat. You've got that long, overreaching ultimate coming from Warlock, can really stop a big 5-man unit in its place, and of course, 5-man Dota, not very good against Fatal Bonds.
Exactly, and Clockwork, obviously you get that vision hero, you get around the map, you move around, you have vision, and versus a Drow strat, you always want to know if someone's standing behind her. Clockwork is perfect for that. You can always take fights you don't really have business taking.
Oh, Marana out for NP.
Yep, Eternal Envy, more than likely. I don't believe SVG or 1437 ever plays that hero.
Well, I mean, after that performance against Alliance, too, I think that was one of the best Marana games I've ever seen Envy play. He just looked so confident, constantly diving tier 2s, throwing out that E-Blade and just annihilating heroes as fast as he could. So looking towards someone like that Warlock would be super key here.
It's a comfort pick for Envy, and it's also a little bit of a block pick here. We've seen the power of the Marana plus the Warlock. Aghanim Scepter with the Star Storm on top of Fatal Bonds does a lot of spread damage across the team. We've seen that actually win a few games, even just in this tournament.
Yeah, and you're not majorly committed to any certain timing, too, when you have the Marana, the Drow Ranger. It's not like some hardcore fall-off draft or anything like that, so they can kind of pick through their tempo here into the second phase.
The biggest thing is Team NP bans two of the greediest support heroes. You have Veno as well as Coddle, obviously with Wings being on Radiant, that is where you can ward jungle. We saw EG do it, so yeah.
It's a good point there, Grant. And also a flexible hero. He can be in the position 1 type role. You can maybe plop him mid on occasion, though pretty atypical now. And it's very hard to shut down when he gets that level 5 in 3 minutes, as he can in the Radiant jungle there. The Keeper of the Light Band, though, stands out to me a bit. Maybe a sign that NP has something a little different to come.
Well, they obviously have a Drow Ranger. They want to push uphill, and Coddle is one of the best at stopping pushes.
Okay, fair enough.
That
ban on the Tusk.
Yeah, that Clockwork Tusk off lane. We won't be seeing that here from Wings. It was pretty brutal, but not going to be coming here.
Yeah. And even though we talk about Tusk not being one of the stronger heroes in the meta right now, he still does bring some stuff to the table. Snowball, a great reset. Frozen Sigil still going through BKB. So not a hero you can completely sleep on, and of course one that could pop out in game 2.
Yeah, I think it's when people think it's bad. So obviously you don't really work, have a strategy against it, you just want to get rid of it. A lot like the Leshrac from Complexity.
And now having the Marana, they're going to ban out the Puck too. We had the offlane MSS Puck when we had the Drow Aura too. Nice way to make that hero very viable in the offlane. And everyone's favorite.
Hey, there we go.
Shadow Fiend.
And a third pick, no less. A very confident pick here from Wings Gaming. Often a hero that you might want to save till a little later in the draft because he's kind of counterable, but bold.
Yeah, look who's missing from this whole draft though. The Bat Rider.
Yeah, usually he's going to be first banned out because he just brings so much control, but we've already got the off lane for Wings picked up. Is there room in NP to grab that?
There is. I think the Clockwork counters it actually quite decently. Rocket, stop a blink, just always find him. If you find the Bat Rider and you initiate on him with a team like this, with Warlock on your side, you're going to win almost every team fight.
Yeah, agreed there, Grant.
Yeah,
a lot of flexibility here for NP. Some support's probably the next priority.
Yeah, as we still start looking towards these last few picks here too. We do have the Timber Saw still there for MSS. Woo!
Right.
Oh, they're liking it.
Oh, it's a Rubik! They love it!
He's here!
They love it!
I'm really excited for that Rubik. I think it's going to bring a lot of strength into the team fights. The null field now being prioritized just because it does help the early magic damage that's coming out in the 20 to 30 minute mark.
Yep, also combos very nicely with Marana. Telekinesis right into arrows.
Classic hero up against Clockwork as well. Grab him, throw him outside those cogs.
And I
Decent skills to steal, mostly just Warlock Rock. I think Rocket's actually extremely good. It's not an ultimate, but it is one of the best skills you can steal.
Yep. And of course, no field, never a bad thing to have against this kind of magic damage.
So now for NP, in terms of towers and objectives, obviously you have a draft strat, so things are already looking pretty good. But being on the dire side, there is still the possibility that MSS Slardar, I believe one of the games he played exceptionally well, going 4-3-20 up against Ad Venom, and one of the best performances of the tournament, I would say, for him. So the same idea in terms of initiating here up against someone like that Shadow Fiend. Could be a hero they look towards with a minus
Exactly. I think
armor.
every time NP runs a Drow lineup, they actually do 5 range, though. I do not believe they even throw in like a random melee hero. They just want to take complete abuse of it.
That is true. And with the MSS bat still there too, it's kind of like that last one that really fits into it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've also seen Slardar be a little bit hit or miss. You know, maybe before this tournament he seemed like a more valuable hero, and we've seen a few games, even in the hands of NP, where the Slardar has a good start and then kind of falls flat in the big game. Definitely a risky pick. Wings thinking about this though, delving into the reserve time as they move into their 4th. Still a lot of options here to round out this draft.
And I guess we didn't talk about it yet, but the other big thing about that Shadow Fiend too is the abuse, right? We'll be having the cogs coming out here, the stealing of the souls in the fountain. And not something we've got to see this whole tournament. We were kind of like, every time the clockwork came out, we were like, Shadow Fiend, maybe?
More than likely, you probably will see, yeah.
Nice way to start up, because you were mentioning how important that matchup is in the mid lane.
Yeah. And we've seen a lot of Warlock teams, when they pick Warlock, they just dual lane in middle. And all they have to do, it's going to be really easy to avoid, like Rubik smoking in, you know, picking him up, throwing him back into Arrow with the Warlock always next to him. It's going to be extremely hard to gank Shadow Fiend, which is what you have to do as Shadow Fiend.
Oh, I like this Lion pickup here. Really nice aggressive support. Going to be great in lanes. Can rotate fairly early as well.
Definitely something they were lacking here. Not much crowd control with these first 3 picks, and now you've got a stun, you've got a hex, and you've got a lot of burst damage. Also gives you a little protection against any kind of illusions, having that mana drain, which of course instant kills illusions.
Yeah, and the last time Wings got him, we saw him just get totally out of control. He had like a 15-minute drums into like an 18-minute blink or something along those lines. Just
Lion depends on levels. So in dual lanes, he gets a lot more levels. We see that a lot more, but if it's in a tri-lane, expect him to be extremely under-leveled, but I think Wings knows that.
So NP, what's left here, they're looking most likely for another support and then that off-lane hero for MSS.
I think the biggest reason they picked Shadow Fiend in the 3rd pick, I know we're like, oh, well, they picked it really early. They already knew it was going to be the Mirana middle, and they obviously had a strategy against it, so I think that was smart. Now, NP, they probably will leave. They seem to leave Mojo's hero till last, so
there it is.
There you go. Oh, I lied.
4th pick in here, but it is the Bat Rider we talked about. One of the issues with this hero is that early base damage. Drow Ranger makes it much easier, but as you pointed out, Grant, Clockwork, one of the better heroes to match up against Bat once we get into those mid-game fights.
Yeah, certainly seems like something Wings 100% knew were coming. They also have the Hex there too, so if they have vision on Batrider, even if you don't cancel the blink, just merely seeing him and having that pre-targeted Hex as he comes in could be complete devastation for NP. And in that game, up against EG, you know, it was tough watching that game. I really didn't think NP were going to be able to pull it out, because that whole game relied on consistent grabs with the Batrider without ever failing, so NP need to do it again.
A couple of interesting bans here. Ogre 5th ban from Wings, a pretty natural synergy with Drow Ranger, Bloodlust, all that good stuff. But Spectre now 5th ban by NP, a hero we have not seen touched at all this tournament.
Certainly a classic up against the Drow Ranger. Someone else to get on top of her, and you can imagine with the Clockwork too, the global potential that could come out there from a simple hook shot into the haunt.
Yeah, it's simple. It creates chaos in a fight. When you cast the ultimate, you're right on top of Drow. She can't really do anything at that point. It's a really good ban.
Yeah, the easiest way to get behind that sentry turret Drow is just, you need gap close, you need ways to get in, and Clockwork might not be enough. If he goes and gets focused down early in these fights, you need some other way to get on top of her.
Very true. Final pick now for NP. It will be a support unless they throw a real curveball here, and it's a Roman Mirana.
Yeah, more than likely going to be that SVG hero. We talked about them leaving it for the last, and it will be that big Treant Protector.
Once again, big
0-0-16 in that game. The perfect support score for SVG.
Grant, a pick that should resonate with you. Unhealable damage now, not going to be a factor.
Yep, you can always heal towers up, you can siege down. I think the biggest thing is Clockwork early game becomes pretty useless against tree armor, which is super good if they want to lane up the Batrider and Clockwork now.
Good tree armor game in general. Shadow Fiend, Lion don't have great ways to deal with it. And Juggernaut, the final pick for Wings.
Wow, a hero we have not seen too much at all this tournament. I think this will be his 4th game now overall. And heroes still like the like that Weaver there, those kind of synergies with the Shadow Fiend. We're not going to see it. Looks like he's feeling a lot more confident in the hero despite not really being around too much.
Exactly, and Wings has a pretty standard lineup besides maybe that Shadow Fiend, but he's been coming back into the meta, so nothing too crazy, probably just testing the waters out.
Yeah, one of the interesting things here, Lion as support, not really played so much outside of the China region, but within China, it's absolutely huge. And, well, as you saw there, we have two casters for this game, and it is going to be Purge and Capitalist. Take it away.
That's right. Welcome, everybody, to the Grand Finals. That's NP facing up against Wings. Truly a David versus Goliath story, Purge. You've got NP as our actors on stage as the poor little David facing up against the Goliath that is Wings. Do you think that this game number one, you see the draft, you've got a Drone Ranger push strategy coming out from NP, something they know so well, something they've executed, do very well in this tournament. Can they actually do this? Can they take game one against Wings?
I think they actually can. They have some really good tools for the things that Wings has going for them, namely the anti-clockwork stuff. Rubik can lift the clockwork, throw him out of the cogs. They can throw a flame break. They just got to keep Drow alive, and I feel like she can hit that back line and actually do enough damage. And on top of that, they've also got a Treant Protector as well, just to try to keep their heroes alive more often. I think it's really what NP needs in the laning stage to also transition. And they've got a Mirana in the mid lane. Normally, Jug's pretty good against that, but having a Drow Ranger aura on top of that should give him a big benefit.
Yeah, we've already seen the success of the Treant Protector and him being able to protect some of those outer towers via living armor. And Wings, on their side, they're playing a very aggressive lineup, right? You've got a Juggernaut carry with a Shadow Fiend mid. There's a bit of farming between the two of them, but in our off-lane position, a Clockwork, probably the most aggressive off-laner you're going to be seeing in this patch. As soon as he hits level 6, he's going to be looking for kills after kills, and this is something that Wings are very notable for, right? They're good on aggression. All right, we're already going to start off with the early SF cheese. We got some full-out souls for Blink.
15 bonus souls gives him 30 damage to start the game. That is a huge beginning, and Drow Ranger aura doesn't look so hot anymore, does it?
No, it really doesn't. Our poor Murata is going to have a very hard time CSing against this SF, and this is already just the start for Wings, right? They're going to be able to give SF a good laning phase thanks to the early souls that he's got, and then you're going to have this Clockwork coming in relatively early to give SF even more space.
An interesting play here by MSS to get all the way to the safe lane. Looks like they might have done like a hybrid smoke or something like that to get space, and now pulling the creep wave should guarantee him some experience. Got to be a little careful about the Lion here because a disable with spin could be his death. He's going to be fine though.
Ice trying to block it off as best as possible. MSS will be able to pull the creep wave successfully all the way back, it seems. The support's unable to do anything here, but NP already going for the early gank. They know Blink has those extra souls. They're trying to get the... Oh no, the failed telekinesis arrow! But it looks like they still got undead. NP, they'll take first blood and bring those souls back down to 8.
So all of the advantage that they got from the clock and SF combo, half of it is gone now, so Envy should be pretty comparable in terms of damage, especially if 1437 stays in this lane. Last time I saw this guy play Rubik, he owned the game. He barely died, and he made a lot happen.
You know NP have absolutely, they saw this coming, they saw the Clockwork SF, they knew he was going to have the early souls, they knew this Mirana was not going to have much of a prayer at being able to out-CS the SF, so the early gank will bring things a bit more even for Eternal Envy.
Just such a good read from them to actually notice that. Normally those level 1 ganks are not very worth it. The person TP's back in the lane, they don't lose very much. But that time, really important. The downside though is that Clock's almost level 3 already, and that's because the supports were busy being in the mid lane. A little surprising in some ways that Wings didn't react to that. He should have maybe noticed faster that the supports were gone.
1437 will manage to connect the pull there. Our Clockwork's going to be trying to do the best he can, trying to interrupt it. He's going to use the cogs maybe to some success here, or SVG, not. SVG,
get this.
He just pulls it again. And so NP start getting that tight grip on the lane. They gave Faith Beyond, as you said, a little bit of space to work, but they're going to shut that down as soon as possible as they return back to lane. Meanwhile, MSS, he's trying to be a bit of a harassive force here as our off-lane Bat Rider, not choosing to go into the jungle just yet. With just boots, he's trying to make the lane work, and he's doing all right for himself at level 2.5.
Yeah, not doing nearly as well as the Clockwork, though, and I think that's the scary thing about what Wings has going for them. That's the hero that's going to counter-initiate when Bat Rider grabs people in the mid-game. So if Faith Beyond does too well here, this has got to be scary for NP.
Yeah, you could see 1437 wants to be able to keep him out of experience range for as much as possible, but he still has to be careful of that 1v1 potential that the Clockwork can pull out with his battery assault. The CS in the mid lane are SF 6 and what is essentially 1 since he had 15 denies to start.
It looks a little inflated.
Yeah,
The game's
just
confused. They're just cogs. Nobody cares about those anyways, right?
Yeah, so
They do have souls.
if you look at it like a 7 and 2, right? That means Armoron is actually destroying the lane, doing very well thanks to that early gank from the rotation 2 supports from NP.
So Envy in a good spot, bottles up about 200 gold until he's got boots as well. Blink's still got to be careful too, because either support rotating could be dangerous, especially as Mirana hits more and more odd levels where Starstorm becomes more effective. Shadow Fiend is always very vulnerable in the lane.
Here comes the wraparound. Fade Beyond is going to be caught here. Throws out the cogs, trying to get himself into the trees. He does have a mango to pop that and try and TP out. He's going to do it right in front of these 3 heroes. They're going to try and beat him down before the TP completes, but he's away to safety.
Really nicely done there. They didn't want to have to lift that early.
Oh,
but
MSS, he might have just found an opening. Managed to get over Ice with a couple of sticky napalm stacks, and he gets him 2. That TP. Quarter of seconds away from being able to complete, but MSS will get the kill first. 2-0 now to NP in this game 1.
it may be a sign of things to come though, because NP is a little bit weak on disables. They've got Rubik Lift, they've got Arrow, they've got Lasso and Tree Ulti, but those aren't always going to be there. So sometimes it will get you out free, but not that time. Too much damage from MSS, and a huge kill for him. That's going to guarantee him more levels. He's grabbing a bounty rune with that one, and possibly a back-to-base trip to grab Tranquils.
Yeah, it absolutely means his choice, right, to stay in the off lane and battle up against those supports works out for him. He's going to be heading on back, probably picking up those Tranquil boots, and we'll see what he does from here. Faith Beyond, he's going to have a little bit more issues, though. He is not yet picked up level 4, despite the early start that he's had. He's already been ganked up once, did manage to get away from that one, but with his TP on cooldown, can't really play too aggressive until it's back up.
Yeah, it's up now, but there isn't a Dire Observer ward spotting his every movement, so NP's going to try to get behind him, try to leech seed him, and set up more disables. But for now, it's difficult, at least until Drow hits level 6. Once she does, then there's way more damage, and something like a TP isn't going to be a solution. So it looks like Bat's looking for stacks right now. He wants to see if there's too many stacks, and if so, he's going to steal them from the Shadow Fiend. But the medium camp's gone. It's only a 2 stack. It's decent. He'll go for it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely worth his time, right? But if he's not in lane, he doesn't know where those supports are, and those supports of Wings are actually trying to make a tricky rotation here. They've seen how aggressive that NP has been on Faith Beyond so far. It looks like they're going to try and punish NP for doing so, but NP not taking the bait just yet. They're actually just focusing on a pull for now. Draw Ranger steps a little bit too forward, though. Ice looks for the be able to get the stun, but a nice gust backwards. AUI will keep himself alive against the rotation.
It's very scary there. If he lands that disable, it could be Clockwork keeping him under tower range and getting a kill. He's got to keep getting levels, keep getting last hits, and guarantee plus damage from Mirana. That ward that MSS did place in the large camp in the enemy jungle is also going to be instrumental, because if SF does end up spending time farming there, it'll let them potentially smoke gank him and kill him in the early game.
1437, going to be caught inside the cogs, has the telekinesis, but the gust, it pushes him down for the telekinesis, and that means Faith Beyond stays right where he was inside the cogs, plinking away with the battery assault, gets the kill. Finally getting Wings on the board.
That's a huge mistake from NP. They actually killed the Rubik there with the gust, but the actual lift in the first place was so delayed that I think AUI got confused. As soon as he's in there with the cogs, you got to throw him out. Don't let him get the battery assault damage. And it was so delayed that AUI tried to save him, and it just counteracted the telekinesis move.
Oh, Eternal Levy going to be caught by rotation. SF wraps around the lane, and now we have Innocence on the other side. Eternal Levy kind of sandwiched in. He's going to try and dodge these ranges. One of them is down. He turns and fights, knowing that he's dead. There is no escape. Wings even it up 2-2.
Nice rotation from the Warlock, though.
Oh, the spin goes out. MSS trying to get away, but the Firefly will not allow him to escape Shadow's grasp.
Yeah, there's no follow-up there from Treant there. Mostly a survivability hero, and Living Armor is just not good against spin. It cuts right through it. So not looking so good for NP now. 2 big deaths here. Good rotations from Wings, and this is pretty much characteristic of how they play. They do a lot with very little. Things that your opponents don't expect them to get value out of.
Yeah, we've had 2 very early and aggressive rotations from both of these supports. It really does seem like this is what's determining lane phase so far, is their rotations around to these lanes. NP with the early gank on the SF, and of course Wings with that rotation up and attempt. Top lane, Faith Beyond in some trouble trying to get himself into the trees. He's actually going to battery assault and run straight through the Joro Ranger, hoping to be able to slow down those right clicks. Gets a little bit of time to get a healing salve off and puts himself in the trees, hoping, praying that he'll be able to get a TP out, but that's just not the case. Fortune 37 on the other side of the trees finds him. NP not done just yet though. Look at this. SVG trying to set this one up. They're going to try and slow down Blink, lead him into the arrow. There's no escape here. MSS, he's going to come in too. SF dies a second time in this game as NP back-to-back ganks, both at top and mid lane.
Really good scout there by SVG, knowing that the SF's not in lane, therefore he's in the jungle. It's going to take 2 hits here on the courier.
Well, there's one punch. MSS, can he get the other? No. Tries to meet it, but smooth flying out.
And somebody paying really good attention there. Would have been a huge snipe, giving a lot of gold to, most importantly, Rubik and the Treant. Normally a little bit more gimped in terms of how much gold they have. But they're definitely using their hero's time very well, scouting out the SF gank there, and now just controlling the enemy jungle. Normally this doesn't even happen until the tier 1 tower is dead, but they did this earlier. The Treant invis just sets up so much with Batrider.
Faith Beyond gets another kill on the Rubik. Meanwhile, we're going to follow MSS as he's been given the early nature's guise by SVG's Treant Protector. And he's sitting invis behind this push of Wings. They've got both their supports as well as Shadow. Shadow very farmed, top net worth of the game so far, and he has his Omni Slash ready to go. But when Instant separates himself from the two of them, he becomes potentially easy pickings for the Batrider. Does what damage he can, but the Healing Ward is now coming in. As long as reinforcements are here, MSS can't go for this kill, and Innocence will stay alive. MSS caught by a small stun. They do have the Omni Slash. They're going to go for it. Open cliff into the trees, and they've got him. Wings punish the offlaner for his attempt at a kill on the supports. NP, though, they're still going to try and line this one up. All of a sudden, with the invis pop out and the arrow, they're going to still try and kill MSN, so they got him dead right. But now Shadow is right in the middle of 2 heroes with the spin. He's going to focus on 1437 right now, but he doesn't do enough damage. Faith Beyond's here with the battery assault. He's got level 6 as well. A Mango is ready to go for the hook shot. If NP tries to leap away from this one, and Faith Beyond can follow, he's got the hook shot. He leans in, but he's got the damage with the raise as well. They get the kill over the top. Now Faith Beyond riding on the retreat. Blink though, he pops the ultimate, and NP caught by surprise by that one. The nuke damage is going to bring MSS low with the extra bit of spin damage. Not quite enough. MSS gets over the cliff, and with some sweet flying there on the Firefly, he will manage to get himself away from that danger zone. 6-6 now as both teams walk away licking their wounds. 10 minutes in. It's been a very action-packed game so far, Kevin.
Looking a little iffy for both teams. NP almost losing 4 heroes there, but only 2 dropping on the benefit for them. In the meantime, Drow's just been pushing top, getting a tower, pushing creeps, and not being contested. So this is fairly good for NP, I'd say, as long as they don't lose too badly in any of these engagements.
1 nuke, 2 nuke, make it a 3rd, or maybe some right clicks. Oh, he tries to go for that close range one, but NP's able to leap away in time.
Very scary. Nice rune to have in that kind of situation.
Definitely wouldn't say no to a regen right after a gank, that's for sure.
Again, they're rotating to the safe lane. They'd love to kill this Juggernaut. It's difficult, though. If Healing Ward comes down, counteracts any kind of damage they're looking for. And it looks like NP will rotate to the safe lane to pressure it now. Drow's in the area. Dragonlance with treads, it looks like. So very good damage. And they did a little bit of this yesterday, actually. Just sieging the tier 1 towers just with the Dragonlance range means that it's very difficult for Wings to defend it. They don't have the resources. They're not ready to take the team fights. The Warlock's not 6. The Lion's not 6. And until then, Wings is severely lacking damage.
So NP are just going to get a free push out of this one, rotating 4 heroes to the bottom lane. Joro Ranger and the crew will take that tier 1, and looks like Wings, they're going to try and pressure mid. 3 heroes rotating and abandoning their safe lane and abandoning that tower in exchange for some pressure on the mid lane in return. But the tower's already gone to the bottom lane, and Living Armor will repair the damage, the small amount of damage that Wings were able to pull it out. Now here comes the wraparound. NP smoke up after taking that tower. They're going to run at Faith Beyond here, but he's somewhere in the trees. Can they find him? A sneaky napalm would show this one, but oh, what a hook shot. Managed to get the Cogs into 2. Shadow's looking to be able to follow this one up, but a Cogs acts as a natural barrier. He can't quite get there for the spin damage, and now the Moonlight Shadow will allow NP to be able to retreat. They're actually going to go and pick up Faith Beyond, see if they can get this quick kill, pull into the arrow, but NP not in range in time. He still has the leap out, can get himself away from Wings as they're just trying to run at NP and get what heroes the kills they can. Oh, nice turnaround silence. That's a beauty. Maybe they can actually take down Shadow, but Shadow has enough HP. Looks for the Omni Slash, doesn't throw it out just yet. Blink goes to that ultimate, and NP have a little bit of loss of damage. They're going to try and blow up by NP, and they've got him dead. But Blink, he's going to lose his life in return. Pecker down by AY. He looks for the next one. That's Ice Ice. 3 down from Wings. NP win a very big team fight inside the Radiant jungle.
Dude, that turnaround was amazing. It looked so iffy for them. They wasted the lasso arrow follow-up, but all of a sudden they got there. They put the disable on the Clockwork. They kept them separated for the start of the fight. That was the big difference. And once Clockwork was dead, there wasn't a lot of Wings that could actually run after NP, at least when the Juggernaut was low.
Again, still having the chaotic offering available to them, Wings have not put use that big team fight ability. Maybe they can turn things around, but currently, as you can hear from the crowd, NP have taken an early lead in this best-of-3 series. Ice Ice going to TP to the bottom lane. They actually managed to get a dust out. MSS going to be the target of Omni Slash, and he's taken down rather quickly. Faith Beyond, he knows he can go for more. He's going to be gusted back. He's hoping to be able to catch one of these supports with the battery assault, but just can't quite close that distance. Meanwhile, NB will take the extra shots on the mid-tier 1.
So even though they are occasionally losing their heroes, they're getting massive advantages from these movements. They're pressuring towers. Wings is trying to trade to at least get some offset of the fact they're losing their better tower, and NP can just late TP one hero and then over time heal it back up with the Treant. That means that any offset that Wings normally gets in a typical game is not here because of what Treant accomplishes and how early they're taking towers. So an occasional pick-off like that is not going to hurt them too much.
So in other words, if Wings want to be able to take one of these outer towers, they need to make a full commitment and take it down from 100 to nothing. Otherwise, that living armor will repair the damage, and that's what they're going to try and do right now. Shadow is even going to join them as he was farming up a bit in the jungle, but he will join Blink and right-clicking down this tower. NP not going to give it up without a fight. They've already popped the Moonlight Shadow. Wings have seen it, and they'll walk away, biding their time. At 1-4-3-7, he's going to find his initiation onto Blink. They're going to bounce him black. Blink is the target, but at the same time, Faith Beyond has managed to jump for the Draw Ranger. He's going to be able to take him out with the battery assault. A carry for a carry, maybe living armor. No, he's good. AY making the distance. Shadow hoping to be able to get a little bit of more, but he can't quite get there. And now it's Kite City for NP. They're going to be able to run down Faith Beyond as well as Shadow. Just a little smooth footwork there from NP. Envy, he even picks up the extra kill in the back line. Innocent dies next to his own tier 1 tower. It seems nothing is safe for Wings as NP strike hard as soon as Wings try and go for that push in mid.
It was a beautiful initiation, the lift to throw into the lasso, and then 1437 with the stolen spin got massive damage on the SF, even with the rock stun. 2 spins that fight. I dare say that he did the most damage all across there, but amazing team fight from NP. Again, winning a team fight this time and getting a tower.
You can see the power of that Treant Protector as well. We talk about the tower repairing mechanism simply because it's so unique to the tree and the tree alone, but the fact that he was able to get the leech seed out on the Clockwork, getting the heal directly to the Drill Ranger, and then also giving him a living armor is what saved him from what should have been just a clean kill for Faith Beyond, but the extra bit of sustain was enough.
And once they have to overcommit to killing the Drow Ranger there, and finally he's safe under his tower, he applies slows to the Jug that guarantees he dies as well. He may have just survived there if it wasn't for the frost arrows.
How many times in this tournament have we seen Wings down by a significant amount by 15 minutes?
That's a pretty big gold amount. It's absolutely not insurmountable though. Wings does some amazing things to get back in games, crazy unpredictable movements, and really solid showings to make your opponent think that they're where they aren't.
Wings, they have the opportunity. They have so many abilities. They've got great heroes to be able to scale out. Losing the early game is not the end of the world. It's going to be on NP to continue what has been a very strong showing by them. Close out in a more perfect late game. We'll see. 16 minutes in, 8-13. Right now, our Joe Ranger is sitting at 9K net worth, and our Shadow Fiend is only at 6K, sitting neck and neck there with Eternal Envy.
And normally I'd say SF is going to way outfarm a Priest of the Moon, but the problem is that by the time the Ags comes out for Potom, he farms about as fast as a Shadow Fiend does. All of that extra AoE thing isn't going to be the case. You absolutely don't go on this. He's got an invis. He's a little upset he got arrowed, of course, but the pressure remains on the other side of the map. No ulti from Warlock for 11 seconds.
NP showed himself at top, but he's also seen the Shadow Fiend, so NP feel comfortable going for a small push at the bottom lane, but it looks like SVG's been caught. That should be a free kill for Shadow unless AUI and 1437 can stop this one. SVG, he gets a little bit of distance with the overgrowth, but Ice puts a real quick stop to that retreat with a finger of death. Blink, he's walking forward here. NP don't know this, but there's an invis, or do they? They've actually got a counterward set in place, and Blink, he was sitting so far ahead that nobody from Wings can actually stop that kill. And NP, right counterward at the right time. They're gonna pop that Moonlight Shadow and see if they can push and punish Wings for more.
That was very greedy from the SF. Remember, he got arrowed above? You can see his inventory. If you check to see if he has the invis, that's going to get NP to put sentries down if they didn't already have them down. So very greedy play from SF there, trying to start a fight in a great way. They picked off the Treant, but he's already up and contributing despite being across the map.
Yeah, very clearly NP had that information, laid down the counter ward for him, and as a result, they'll be rewarded with a tier 2 tower bottom lane and a great team fight. That's going to be a Shadow Blade now for the Drow Ranger. Talk about the Juggernaut and the SF and how they still need to be able to make this item progression going into the mid game, actually get those core items that's necessary for them to be able to dominate team fights. That Shadow Blade's going to make it so hard for them to be able to find the space as AUI will stop crowding out the map.
Even for a hero like Clockwork, he's going to have to carry a dust now if he ever does go on the Drow Ranger. And he's got a Force Staff. He's got 2 big Clockwork counters. So, and if he transitions that into a Silver Edge and starts breaking passives or damage outputs for 5 seconds, if he gets the drop on either of these carries on Wings' side, it's almost for sure too little damage from them anymore.
Blink is also going to be trying to go for a Shadow Blade of his own. Meanwhile, Shadow not going to be going for the Shadow Blade. Contrary to his name, he's actually got Phase Boots Ayasha, another 1,000 gold in the bank for now. Wings don't really seem to have too many places to farm. You can see them, multiple heroes grouped up near that mid lane. They're all staying pretty deep on the Radiant side of the map, and NP are free to split up and push out and be very farm efficient.
Yeah, they're just scared of the invis. If you look at how many sentries that Wings have across their jungle, I can see 4 or 5. They just want to make sure there aren't wards in the area that they'll be able to see. An invis hero, if Treant Protector does use Nature's Guise, it costs them massive gold though. So if NP just doesn't fight for a bit of time, it could just be a giant gold advantage just from sentries alone.
Ward placed out by SVG, and he's also scouting both Innocence as well as Faith Beyond. That's one of the great powers. Riki, Treant Protector, only 2 heroes that could just go out, place wards undetected, but it seems like Wings did sniff that one out at least.
Yeah, they may have seen him wrap around the large cliff there. They're just going to push the wave here. Might as well. Wings constantly scared that NP is going to back off and take Roche, and this is just a testament to how they're farming the map. They'll put 1 hero to push the lane, but the others are farming jungle, so Wings will never know where the other 4 are.
Ice dead in 3 shots from AUI. Shadow will manage to make a way as the arrow scouting one from Eternal Envy, hoping to be able to just get the lucky pick is not there. But still, the beginning of the Shadow Blade ganks has started for NP. Blink, though, has picked up his own Shadow Blade, so maybe he can still feel confident in pushing out. He can't afford to just play only a safe game, right? Wings do have to take certain risks given the net worth lead that NP has right now.
How do you feel about that Shadow Blade on SF, though? I feel like if you're in a losing game and you're not a hero like Slark, there's a possibility NP just is winning, buys a gem, puts it on bat, and then Blink is always going to have trouble using that item.
I think that absolutely could happen. NP could even just like 5-man take Roshan, and then there's no real good initiation from the SF either. There's plenty of problems with this Shadow Blade, but it seems Blink feels like it's his best way forward. All those towers, such high HP. The living armor is making sure there's no real push.
They damaged the top one though. It's pretty low.
Oh, yeah, it was already. It was all the way down to 1,200 HP of 1,300.
It was busy.
That's pretty much what most Wings have gotten so far. Is maybe chipping the tower down to at most half health, and then there it is. They see the Shadow Blade, they pick up the gem just per your suggestion, Purge.
No, he may have to buy Quelling Blade, but he's going to go through and just burn all of the sentries in the Radiant jungle. As long as they control space and they have a show of force with enough heroes in the area, it means those sentries to protect you from Treant movements are not going to be valuable anymore.
And it does mean, in some ways, right, Wings have to have a plan. That they have to be able to fight NP, because the gem, it's going to just play a very active force in limiting map control for Wings, but it also can play an opportunity, right? If they win a team fight, get the gem into their own hands, then things can significantly start shifting around.
That's absolutely right. With Tree as well as Mirana ulti, 2 big invisible skills completely countered there. Potom's got to be careful on the top lane. If he goes down and he doesn't have buyback, that's almost for sure a tier 1 tower falling, despite through tree heal. So NP finally going to make a show of force through the enemy jungle. All of their wards there have been denied, at least with sentries, so this is the moment where they start breaking them and replace their own observer wards so they can make good movement decisions, because right now they're playing blind.
A couple invis heroes and a smoke even. NP walking on through. There are multiple heroes of Wings here at the top lane. They're trying to eat through this living armor that's been laid out. Eternal Levy and AUI are already positioned to defend by themselves, but they may need some extra support since Ice managed to find the initiation. They closed up Envy, and now they're going to be able to get the hook shot onto AUI as well. The two cores thought they could defend, but they just may be victims to the Wings push out as they get behind the tier 1 tower and claim both of those cores. NP not in a position to do anything to turn things around.
Worst case scenario there for NP, losing their 2 most farmed heroes, and AUI used his force to try to save the Mirana, but they still died. If he had a force of his own left over, at least he could have saved himself, but actually worst case there. And now Juggernaut's actually farming the Mirana, surprisingly, and that's all because of the sentry gold that Wings spent to deward their jungle. That gave them some safe jungle space for once. And then NP thought that maybe there was only 2 Wings heroes top. Instead, it was the whole team, and they get a great fight.
Yeah, we've gone from Shadowblade to almost a BKB now being completed for the SF, so he won't have to be as worried about the Mirana's heavy nuke damage, the Bat Riders magic damage he puts out as well, even the silence from that Drow Ranger won't be as much of a problem. He'll have an easier time getting off that ultimate for the big team fights. It seems like NP, with that one small stumble, combined with the giant net worth lead that they have had in the past, has now been given up, and Wings start making a bit of a comeback. But we'll see. NP still have that gem, and they still have ways to be able to put the pressure onto Wings for some team fights. Even the Roshan is still available to them, but you can see it is always being scouted out by Faith Beyond.
On the bright side, they did steal the rocket, though, so that should give them even more vision advantage that they didn't have before. And they also have one great ward placed at the top ramp towards Roche, which means that if they do go for Roshan themselves, they'll at least have vision of non-smoked heroes. Might not be enough, though. Wings is looking like they're out farming their opponents. NP is just playing a little too roamy with about 3 of their cores. Really, it's just the Drow Ranger as well as Mirana farming, but Mirana's been dedicated almost entirely to split farm, trying to do the dangerous farm, pushing out the lanes that there may be a gank towards, and then it's just Drow Ranger farming. So that's not going to compete to the 2 to 3 heroes on Wings that are picking up neutrals right now.
Combined with the early lead that NP had, as well as the fact that Wings has some heroes that scale pretty well, it seems like their game plan is going to be mostly trying to survive and draw this game out, prevent the Drow Ranger pushes. So it's up to NP to really determine the tempo of this game. They're going to try and do Roshan right now and try and go for the pushes after, but Faith Beyond, he's already scouted that out with a rocket. He's got the hook shot ready to go. Roshan's going to be dying soon.
See if the clockwork saw. He's trying to block it with his hero since it's invis.
Make sure there's no opportunity for an aim steal. That's SVG with the invis play. Managed to block out the hook shot, and Faith Beyond gets ripped apart by Eternal Envy and AUI. Now they look for more. MSS being a distracting force against the 4-man of Wings. Managed to get ahead of that Earth Spike. Will not go down here, and AUI's found his mark. He goes for Shadow. Unable to get the bounce out of time, but a stolen ulti slash, and 1437 brings one down almost by himself. Finger of death, and an ultimate drop by the SF, even Warlock ultimate, and he's somehow still alive. He makes it to the back lines, and NP do not drop a hero in that team fight. They claim Roshan. They get 3 kills as Eternal Envy picks up the Warlock, and they get Aegis. NP, a full recovery from them after a minor stumble in the top lane.
Just amazing play from SVG there. He knew that his opponents could see exactly when Roche was dead because of the rocket vision, so that's when he tracked to where Clock was going, blocked the hook, guarantees the Clock kill, and then they get to chase. Healing Ward was on cooldown, an amazing steal from 1437, and all of a sudden NP swings back into a huge lead.
Now NP pushing into the mid-tier 2s. I was going to ask you, Purge, when does NP need to be able to push a high ground? It seems right now they're going to be able to at least take tiers. When would you like to see them take a lane of Rex? Like, in your head, what is the timer? Is it 35 minutes, 40 minutes? When do you say, all right, you should have gone high ground at least once by now?
I think they have the opportunity ready now for sure. They just used the Golem. This is a great teamfight opportunity. I mean, maybe getting a pick first would be wonderful, and it's possible they might delay this to try to keep 3 lanes pushed in and utter map control, they can always buy more items, really. Drow can be a comparable carry to heroes like Shadow Fiend and Jug, especially with this kind of a net worth advantage. He's 4,000 ahead of both of those heroes.
And they do have some pretty significant items that are coming up too. The Force Staff for the Bat Rider, not just versus the Clockwork, as we've seen the team actually prioritize that Force Staff. So one's been picked up by 1437. AUI obviously has the Hurricane Pike, but also for him to be able to get an easier initiation. Whoa, nice play there, Jesus. Almost caught out, managed to blink away, just one step ahead of that arrow. Chipping away at that tier 3 though.
The range advantage, he just sits on the low ground, pinging away, his allies on the high ground providing the vision, but they've overstayed their welcome just a little bit. They could continue forcing that, but at some point, you gotta play it safe. Omni Slash back off cooldown. Really unlucky there for Shadow. It jumped to the Mud Golems rather than killing the Bat Rider. Just everything went bad in that fight.
Omni Slash is now back up. Not just for the Juggernaut, but for our Rubik as well. He's got a Force Staff and a Blink Dagger now, so he has a chance to get a great initiation. They don't have to rely on just MSS to be able to get the lasso in, pull back. That's not going to be only his burden, but 1437, he's going to be able to share the load as well. 11-18, it's 28 minutes into the game right now, a 16,000 net worth on the Drow Ranger. She is far away ahead of both the Juggernaut as well as the SF, who are sitting around that 12k area. They've got 2 minutes left for the Aegis. We'll see whether or not NP are going to go for that high ground push with this extra light that they have, or if Wings are going to catch them beforehand.
A small fish here for Wings with their 3 heroes. E-Blade picked up on Drow Ranger, very uncommon purchase, but why let Mirana have all the glory with that, right? You can be the one that sets up the combo, and she has higher agility anyway, so the initial nuke should actually hit quite hard.
Yeah, the Ethereal Blade is a great agility item. Most people think about it as just being able to burst down heroes like Morphling or Mirana, but it actually gives you a really good amount of agility. It's just a base item, and now he's got his own defensive ability against Omni Slash. So even if somehow the Juggernaut is able to get on top of AUI, he not only has the Hurricane Pike, but he also now has that Ethereal State he can apply to himself.
Good pickup if you want to finish a kill, that's for sure. Could be even Clockwork, for example. Gotta be careful about Blade Mail, though. Not very strong against magic damage. And he's backed up from his allies. 2 Wings here still on the bot lane, trying to split push and get some advantage, but the tower is getting really low. It's nighttime as well, so he's got to take tower damage with this one.
Arrow goes out. A little bit of scout there from NP. Will not connect with anything. Good deny from our Shadow. Whoa! Force Staff, aggressive Force Staff, and push the AUI into the cogs. They're trying to hold on to the hook shot, but a quick Force Staff out from AUI, and he'll actually take that melee racks before Wings have the opportunity to do anything.
The 29-minute barracks, I'm going to say that's good for NP here. Definitely ahead of schedule, and just based on the fact that Wings didn't want to fight that just shows what the state of the game is. Wings knows that they have a low chance of winning this fight. It's better to give them the barracks, force them to back off, and try to fish for another kill like they did before with the smoke. They've got to win some fights. It's the best way to get back in the game.
Sitting inside the very dark jungle, NP waiting for Wings to poke their head out just a bit too far, get the pick that could allow them to be able to end this game. Wings do start pushing out, but they're heading towards the left side of the map, trying to get some vision down.
They get one ward. That's all they have for now. It may be not too long until they take that out, but they've got to be careful, especially with where the rockets are coming from. You can tell which area of the map Clockwork is. That should reveal that some of Wings are near the secret shop. So right now, NP's just holding up in the Wings jungle, trying to prevent them from entering that. It lets Wings get across the map, but most of their cores are actually still in the base. They don't want to get caught across.
I guess when you have that gem on the enemy team, you've got 2 cores that still need to be able to farm out. You can't just hold on to wards, right? Just because they have a gem. You need to be able to get some vision, some idea of what NP are up to, so you can get some farm on some of these cores. The only one who's really outside the base right now is Faith Beyond. It looks like he could be caught here by AUI. Starts setting up, the right clicks, managed to get a gust. Into the trees he goes. Faith Beyond looks for the TP out. Hurricane Pike looks for the nuke, but it's not enough. The Ethereal Blade that AUI recently picked up will not be the coup de grace. Faith Beyond gets back to base and creates some space for his team. As you can see, they immediately start pushing out mid, eager for any farm that isn't just inside of their own base.
Maybe a little underwhelmed with that E-Blade damage, but that was mostly the raindrop, blocking damage off the top before the magic resistance comes into play. So that would have done way more damage without magic damage block.
Eternal Envy Using the Moonlight Shadow, will run into Ice here, looks for the quick nuke. Oh, there it is. Buddy's already been caught by the Hex, and now Faith Beyond's here, but he's blown the hook shot. A leap away, gets Eternal Envy to safety. He's got the Blink Dagger back up, and he's thinking about pushing for more, seeing if maybe he can get an extra kill. The arrow goes out, he sees Innocence, he tries to kill the ward. Envy, uh-oh, that Blink Dagger's not gonna help him out anymore. 2 more seconds till the leap's up. It looks like he can just walk himself away as the SF not hitting real hard, especially against living armor.
Jug in a good spot though. He's gonna go for the Omni.
1437 gonna be slowed down to defuse the blade. He's got to blink up in a second. Someone's got to get the damage. They can't do it. Rubik away to safety. Now an arrow comes out. Ooh, almost skinning Shadow there.
Ulti this.
NP, they're feeling confident. They're kind of corralling in. They managed to get the overgrowth to start things off. BKB is immediately a spin. They go straight for AUI, but Elastic's going to be able to stop the blink. He's not going to be able to go for that Drone Ranger. Drone Ranger caught by the Hex and is going to be blown up by the combination of Ice and Shadow. Meanwhile, the SF lets off the ults, pushing back the rest of NP as they are unable to punish. Drone Ranger gets separated, isolated, and is forced to trade his life away for a Warlock. 1437 deep inside the base, will manage to get his TP out.
Pretty good engagement there for Wings. They do still lose the Golem though. The Drow kill, maybe a little unexpected, but landing a Disable and then doing Omni Slash during that time period prevents him from using either of his saves, namely the E-Blade. So great move there by Wings, good reading of his inventory. And that's the kind of stuff they need. That was a good fight. They're still getting some net worth advantage here, especially with the Maelstrom here on Jug. The cheaper version of the Battle Fury, really, and very good as well at killing heroes like Treant Protector with his armor.
Yeah, it's another instance, it's another proc of damage, right, against living armor, so one hit could take down 2 procs of living armor.
Another amazing thing it does, it can just jump and disable Blink Daggers when people are expecting to initiate. That kind of unpredictability is something that the best players in the world do not expect, and it absolutely can change games. If only half of your team goes in, the other half gets disabled and expects to go in.
Wings, after that pick-off on the Drone Ranger, they're feeling a little bit more confident. They're actually pushed past the river. You can see Shadow inside the Dire Jungle. Some of Wings push through mids. Even Faith Beyond is keeping that bottom lane from getting too close to their base. They are beginning to grind forward. But then again, so is NP. They're not actually too far behind in farm either. You can see still holding a 12,000 net worth lead despite that pickoff. There was no real big bump up in net worth for Wings just because NP holding so much territory to be able to farm.
Yep, and Drow Ranger picking up the Ogre Club, most likely going to be a Black King bar. That way he doesn't have to worry about that disable problem in the future. Also makes him very competitive against SF when they both pop BKB. So going back for basically 3 utility items on the hero, not so much damage, but staying alive is the name of the game when you're playing Drow.
It's all going to be up to our next Roshan, right? That's going to be the next climax in action. We have NP who want to be able to grab the Aegis for themselves and give them a nice safe push into the high ground, or at least safer than the alternative. 1437, nice reactions. Gets away, they're still trying to set up. Eternal Envy won't be caught by that Earth Spike. Faith Beyond tries to get a cog set, but he always going to be slowed down by SCG as well. The nuke comes out, Overgrowth holding him in place. NP keeping their distance, will be able to nuke him from afar, and now they manage to get the initiation. MSS, hard initiation on a Shadow, pulls him back to the rest of the team, and now Wings every man for himself, but they're going to lose Warlock. It's only going to be our SF and Alliant who seem to survive through this team fight. The arrow, oh! It got him. Eternal Envy nails him just before the TP out. Buybacks immediately coming out from Wings as NP have found their opening to potentially end this game.
I don't even think he had vision with that arrow. That was just a blind, let's catch somebody.
Yep.
And he got him. Just the initiation, the fact that Theban was able to blink back after the initiation changed everything in that fight. NP was able to punish so many heroes. SF still up with his ultimate. Juggernaut still has his, but he's dead for 35. No buyback on him. This is the time to get their second racks, and when you're down by 2 racks, okay, they're going to play it safe.
They start pinging for Roshan, it looks like. Already the TP rotations have come out. It's rather late. They know Roshan guaranteed is up.
It's a good move.
So they're not going to take that risk. They're not going to try and go for that second lane of racks. They say, we've already forced buybacks. Let's play it safe. Let's play conservative. Let's just make our lead even bigger.
Yep, for 4 more seconds, Juggernaut is dead, and then he can teleport, so he's going to have to start his teleport at the same time NP begins killing Roche. There's no way he's going to make it in time. You saw in that last fight, once the lasso came on a Jug, he died real fast despite being magic immune. The physical damage from Drow Aura is really paying off here.
Yeah, this Mirana is turning into quite the physical and magical damage menace, right? With that Aghanim Scepter and the double nuke that comes out, but then he's also got a decent amount of stats and the Draw Ranger Aura to give him even more physical damage. He's actually hitting, look at that, 275 damage a hit, and he's got the Ethereal Blade nuke damage with Starstorm.
What do you advocate for his build next? Normally, they just max Dagon, just a combo with the E-Blade, but I kind of feel like he could go for a physical damage build, something like Manta Butterfly, and completely justify it this game.
Do you think that would give him a little bit more prolonged sustained damage if this game went late? Like if
Absolutely.
they didn't manage to close it out for 10 minutes?
Yeah, you got to worry about beating the SF in a right-click war late game, and if they just go nukes and they do a combo and they pop their BKBs early, if it's always Wings initiating, NP's going to lose a lot of those fights. So I'm worried if they just go all in on this magic damage thing.
Well, we'll see what our Mirana is going to do. He, of course, picked up the Boots of Travel for now and is holding on to buyback, but we'll see what the next big item outside of that utility is going to be. Meanwhile, our Draw Ranger is stacked to the gills. BKB, Silver Edge, Hurricane Pike, an Ethereal Blade, and now an Aegis taking up that last slot. It's 38 minutes, 12-24, and that kill score very much does reflect the state of this game. NP have a very big lead. They're just hoping to be able to close out this game cleanly, sitting at a 20,000 net worth.
That's pretty huge for this point in the game. But Wings still does have the teamfight potential. Things like Fatal Bonds can't be underestimated, especially a well-placed Omni Slash. Maybe from either team.
Now we're just getting luxury items. 1437, he's got himself an Aghanim Scepter, so you're talking about if he steals Chaotic Offering, unlikely, but if he does, amazing. Finger of Death, Clockwork Hook, Omni Slash, it's all good.
Literally any spell that he could steal would be pretty good this game, especially the ultimates. Lots of great basic skills as well. He's been definitely leveraging his hero in a great way. I think he can easily handle the Ags here, and it could give them a really easy team fight if he plays well.
Well, here it comes, NP. With what seems to be an unstoppable push. AUI is going to be leading the front lines, but the SF's right on top of him. He's going to let loose that ultimate, but they already get the Hurricane Pike away. AUI, he survives, doesn't take hardly any damage whatsoever, and before the push has ever even really started, they already know one ultimate is down for Wings. They're at even more of a disadvantage than they were before.
It was a really good try, but very dangerous. They had no sentries, play stuff to cover AUI from an invis hero. The good attempt could have burst down the Aegis instantly. Oh, he gets it.
Don't tell me.
That's X.
He's got a Blink Dagger, a Force Staff, and he has the opportunity to dish out some serious damage at the Requiem of the Souls.
That's also going to heal him if he's able to channel it out. It's an amazing ability. Lowers movement speed, lowers damage output. He just has to get that off in the team fight, and I think NP is going to be able to win it.
We'll see if that team fight ever occurs. Wings, they need to find their initiation now. They start going at AUI. They Force Staff him in deeper inside the base, but
he gets
Force Staff, he gets out. Now the arrow onto the SF, and he's in some serious trouble. Already down to half HP and ticking down as the damage from Flame Break brings him a bit lower. AUI, the rest of his boys, though, pretty happy with the way that engagement went. They back up and will start healing AUI. They don't want to give up this Aegis for free just yet. They haven't used any big-time ultimates. They haven't even blown their BKBs yet, so they've still got everything to be able to win this next push.
Wings is playing so carefully here. They don't want to even use the BKB on Blink until maybe even he buys back here. There's the combo going through.
Again, the Ethereal Blade, the big nuke damage comes out, and he holds onto that BKB. Now the initiation, but a quick Manta. And Shadow able to dodge that one. They're going to immediately turn and try and go for Eternal Envy. He's so close, he puts the BKB, but he still goes down. Now Wings can push forward and look for more. He's got no jump. He managed to get AUI inside. Hurricane Pike managed to get out. They get the Rubik instead. AUI's getting away. Wings chasing for more. They want to be able to pick up so much, but they only have so much catch in this world. Wings will pick up 2 kills and hold their base against NP. 2 BKB charges used as well off the NP squad.
That Lion Stun changed everything, catching both Drow Ranger and just at the end, the Rubik as well when he was trying to channel his ultimate. And the Chaotic Offering follow-up meant that they had to retreat to high ground. And again, they would have turned if he got his Requiem off, but twice in a row got interrupted, and finally he died. Gem now picked up for Wings. They're holding things. The mid-Rax is gone, and the other 2 are vulnerable. But if they just keep winning fights or little engagements like this, at some point they will win the game.
We are seeing some very worthy tier 1 performances out of our supports, both 1437 on the Rubik and that Blink Dagger, Force Staff, as well as Ice on the Lion. have had quite the impact in this game so far. But in the battle of the cores, it's NP currently head. Again, the net worth still to their favor by a significant amount. The cores of Wings are slightly catching up, but it's our supports that are going to have to do a whole lot more with a whole lot less as they're sitting way bottom of the network chart.
That Warlock's especially poor, but luckily for him, it's a hero that's fairly item independent. Levels are a really big deal, and they're going to provide a lot if he can get a good Fate's Edict down or even a great upheaval. So,
AY looking for that early kill or not?
I think he's just messing around. He can't do anything once he E-blades him, so...
Yeah, if
Trying
Ethereal
to
blades
scare
up a clockwork and then kind of looks at him funny.
Yeah.
There's not much you could do.
Forces towards him, E-blades him, then pushes him away. That's just style, man. Trying to get in their heads. It's the best way to taunt, I think. It's a good way to feed sometimes, too, though. You got to be careful with those moves.
Absolutely. Wings, they will take advantage of any mistakes that you make in this game. NP have already made a couple of small ones that have delayed out this game. NP, though, still in full control. Smoke up. Maybe Moonlight Shadow. Maybe they're going to go straight through
There's
into this mid lane, but there's already a sentry ward there. They actually place a ward, but that's going to be countered out real quickly by Wings. They've even got a gem on their Lion if necessary. No one's taking the bait for the ward, though. MSS, you could see him with the smoke still, sitting there on the side of the cliff, waiting for his blink initiation onto whoever went for that ward, but Wings sit very, very safe near their tier 4 towers and await NP in the next push.
Great ward position. They knew what the trick would be when NP approached it, and it's a smoke plus invis to go high ground. Both their heroes positioned with the sentries as well that would have been spotted. So NP loses another opportunity. Every time they use a smoke, it's getting a little scarier here. It's going to rely on them to just do typical initiations, and against a gem that their opponents have, that's not always going to work.
Yeah, it's not about trying to upset this game in one swift move, right? It's a whole bunch of small decisions that Wings have to make to kind of grind their way back into the game, and they've done it so far. But it would be quite the shame for Wings if they did all this throughout the game for 45 minutes, but still ended up crumbling to that NP 5-man push. NP, AY, again, they seem to have such good awareness. Part of it is the aggressive wards that they have laid down, but they have read so many of Wings' rotations and stayed one step ahead of them.
Yep. Really good time to back up for the Drow Ranger, anticipating the movement. In the meantime, Eternal Envy on the other side of the map, pushing that out safely, and then when he finishes his wave, he goes to rejoin his allies in case the fight does actually begin as they fake back. So NP is just playing this map very well. Any grab on any lane could be great. This SF1, NP's planning ahead.
There it is. MSS managed to get the lasso onto Blink, pulling it back straight into the arrow. The extra bit of nuke damage, and Blink will fall. He is down for 70 seconds. No doubt that NP will push and force the buyback out of it.
So huge play there. Basically, NP thinking next level. Wings isn't going to fight bottom. They're going to push out one mid, and Batrider got the catch. That should be able to force a buyback.
I like what Eternal Envy is already doing. He's trying to push out that top lane. The tier 3 is already gone, right? Wings, they won't be given this opportunity. Just, let them have the lane of Rax. We'll hold on to buyback because both lanes of Rax are being threatened.
Yeah, and now they're going to be spread out. They're going to have to defend with 2 heroes, which means they can actually take a fight somewhere like bottom, and Envy can TP there.
Shadow already forced to use the spin in order to dodge the arrow placed out by Eternal Envy, and AY gets a couple of shots on that tower. Still 30 more seconds left on that death timer for the SF. Atheon gets his initiation, tries to run himself away. The nuke damage almost finishing him off, but it's not quite enough, and it will. A little bit more tick damage, but a big chaotic offering. The buyback's out for the SF, but they need so much more out of this. They've only gotten 2 supports. Meanwhile, Eternal Envy, he's already taken range, right? He's about to get the melee as well in the top lane. NP just moving Wings around. They managed to catch up the SF. AUI by himself looks to be able to take him down with the physical damage. He's got him dead. Force taps away. Shadow Blade out, and Shadow has nothing to do to that counter. He'll get kited. Silver Edge goes out, but maybe AUI, he thought with his low he'd be good. The spin goes down from Shadow. He's going to be able to pick up that kill. They finally get something out of this core position. Ice Night Force Staff gets away, and they'll be able to get an extra kill on MSS's Batrider as well. They still have their SF dead for 60 seconds, and they lost that lane of Rax to the top lane. But Wings will push this game just a little bit further.
3 dead heroes on NP finally gives Wings some chance to move across the map and try to take some towers. They are going to stuff the battle through tree armor, but they're so far away from getting a barracks due to all of the defense that NP had from the start of the game until now. Towers are not going to equalize this game when you have 2 exposed barracks. Once those fall, there's almost no way they defend.
I'd like to personally congratulate Wings. Oh, maybe I'm speaking too soon. I was going to congratulate them on their second tower of the game, but that's not going to happen. Telekinesis straight to the arrow, and they pounce. NP almost take out the Juggernaut. 1437 almost had him with the spin. They need a little bit of damage, but they can't quite fight him. SVG, he's looking for it. They blink forward. They're actually going to run into Clockwork. They manage to get him. Manta goes out, and Shadow pops through the ward. He's almost alive. He gets a little bit more, and now he turns. He's going to man up. He takes out SVG. He's going to get SV as well. 4 dead from NP. Wings, somehow, some way, they keep Shadow on the brink of death, but they don't let him fall.
Shadow, the heal, doing so much in that team fight. 1437 was actually able to break it, but they couldn't actually kill him afterwards. Envy running into a huge mana problem, not only just there, but also earlier on, and when he was bottom. Went for the BKB choice, maybe something like a Lincoln's could have solved this issue, but he didn't get the second Starfall off once he dropped the E-Blade, and because of that, no dead Jug and 2 dead heroes.
NP still have all the advantages in the world. They can take a moment, deep breath. They've still got plenty of objectives they can easily take. Roshan is going to be the next big one, and I'm not sure if Wings can actually contest that. That may just be an Aegis and Cheese that NP will be able to pick up for free. Wings have done a lot to be able to prolong the state of this game, but I'm not sure if they can do that much. We can see Wings already beginning to push out. Faith Beyond's going to try and get some vision over that Roshan pit as much as possible. Maybe he can actually catch 1437. Blind hook, but off the mark. 1437 will not be caught by that one.
He'd love to steal the skill if he can get it, but they're resorting to sentries. They don't have gems anymore, unfortunately. Big loss for NP. Their control of the Radiant jungle is going to be much more difficult, and they're on cooldown for a long time.
For the first time in quite a while, Juggernaut is top of the net worth chart. It's been Dro Ranger almost the whole entire game, but he is now at 30k net worth. Mjolnir, Manta, Butterfly, Scotty, Diffuser Blade 1, Boots of Travel 1 as well. He's still got some little bit more room for growth, for sure. Our Azab has a whole lot more. He's just got the BKB, he can exchange out the SNY and just start building some actual late game items, so they do have some room for growth. But this is one of the tougher parts of the game where Wings start feeling comfortable pushing out, but it's also because they have to. They're one lane of racks from going up against Megas, and even any sneaky maneuver from NP
no TPs
could take it so quickly, and we're seeing that right now. No TPs whatsoever, not enough anyway, potentially to be able to stop this push in. They've already managed to catch Shadow, but they can't output the damage fast enough, it seems. That Butterfly going to work. Shadow will survive through the lasso, and NP on the retreat now, but they might just be caught on the other side. Look to the right, it's Faith Beyond, here he is, he's shown up, he's caught SVG. Inside the cogs, they have the vision. Battery Assault will stop that TP out from SVG. They get one. NP's first attempt at a sneaky backdoor in that bottom lane of Rax is denied.
And he wants to backdoor, but he's too scared. He doesn't have BKB, he doesn't have his ultimate. And if he gets hooked, he's dead for sure. 5,000 in the bank for him. Still has his phase boots up, can definitely swap that out for damage items, utility items, survivability items. There's a lot of choices, but things are looking more and more scary for NP. Not controlling the gem means that they're forced into some of these more dangerous moves. They don't always know where Wings is, and they can't control the map as well. Even Drow Ranger is having damage problems at this point. The Butterfly on the Juggernaut means that killing him through physical damage is hard, and he picks up a Scotty as well, covers his HP aspect. That's going to make sure that nukes don't necessarily kill him when they get thrown down.
He desperately needs an MKB, or maybe they just go on somebody that's not Juggernaut. They've already lasted up Link, start pulling him back. AY goes for the guts, but he's run line. Right next to Shadow, the Golems get dropped. They need to be able to catch up to him, but double force stabs him, get a little bit away until the Omni Slash comes through, brings one core down, and it's got a second. Envy, he's not gonna make it out either. Shadow wants it, he sees a triple kill here, and he'll have it. Beyond godlike triple kill on 3 cores, and all of a sudden, Wings, they're pushing down the middle lane. They're gonna be the ones giving themselves an endgame scenario by forcing buybacks out of NP.
Do they defend or do they try to split push? The lanes aren't very pushed in, and Wings is just stomping every single fight. But they are down from ultimates. They don't have Golem. They don't have Omni Slash. If there's no fast text, then Envy can do that repeatedly here. They do grab Rubik on the back line, though. He does not have buyback. It's a little scary here.
So we could be seeing a 4 versus 5 around the Roshan pit, or maybe NP just give it up entirely. it seems so unlikely that they can test given no buybacks, but if they give up this Roshan, Agents of Cheese are picked up. Wings, finally, for what has it been, 50 minutes? 50-minute game. They have not been the aggressors for so long, but they will finally take control of this map, and they may be the ones pushing in unless Eternal Envy can force them back. He's already going for that bottom lane push. The creeps are inside the base. They have the glyph, though. That is still significant. Envy has forced out the glyph out of Wings, and another push like that could actually claim a range ranks or even a melee. Gets both, that's going to be Megas.
I really would have liked to see Envy drop and destroy his phase boots and grab that gem that was on the ground. They don't have one as a team, and it's a long time until they get one, but I don't even think he saw it, or he's got to worry about a 6 item, of course, and they are having massive damage problems against the Jug. He's somehow eclipsing the Dire team now with his farm.
He has 10,000 net worth lead over the Drow Ranger. He's at 35k.
He's only missing a moon shard. That's it. 4,000 gold, and this guy is as strong as he's ever going to get. Amazing itemization in this game. The one counter, though, is evasion. If you get a butterfly on Drow Ranger, then at least those hits are not going to hit us off. Okay, he's just going to stroll in and grab it. That works too. Saves your phase boots.
Well, SVG will walk away with that counter vision, it seems. NP, that is, though, a very, very small pittance. The gem is nice to have, but they once had total control of this game. And now it's been slipping through their fingers for the last 30 minutes.
They pick up the MKB at least, so they will be able to hit the Juggernaut reliably with Drow Ranger, but she's also being super pressured by all of the Wings. That's the one hero that Wings jumps on at the start of the fight. They know Envy's damage is more bursty, it's not sustained. If they kill Drow at the start of the fight and she doesn't get to attack the whole time, they will outdamage MP.
It's all about the initiation from here, right? With an MKB on Drow Ranger, he can actually dish out some damage on Shadow and threaten him if they get that lasso, but at the same time, he doesn't have a butterfly, so Shadow could just rip him apart.
It's definitely a wishy-washy situation there.
Both teams going to be playing this a little bit slow. Wings looking to be able to get some control of the map, push out of the lanes, and finally get themselves in a position where they can actually push high ground themselves. Meanwhile, NP, they obviously have to hold time because they still have their buybacks off cooldown. That's the big thing that's limiting NP right now. They do not want to get into a team fight, lose some of their cores, and that could just be game over straight up.
So Wings now pressuring towards the tier 2. Shadow Fiend's HP is also very strong, and these Scotties are massive between the two cores. They need Force Staffs to ever get away from a hero killing them if they're in a bad situation. And that's costing a lot. It helped a lot in the last fight, but they need to have a great initiation. Even something like a Blink Dagger on Treant could change a lot if he could initiate. Drop his ultimate on 4 heroes to prevent the right-click damage, but Shadow Fiend and Jug have the right items for that.
Not so long ago, they were getting their second tower of the game. Now Wings have taken all the outer towers, giving them the opportunity that if they actually can push high ground and win a team fight, they can go from lane to lane to lane, getting megas if they need to, or even just go straight for the throne.
So they're farming jungle camps for now. Batrider very close to an Aghanim Scepter that allow him to lasso 2 heroes. Envy is trying to finish an MKB of his own. I am sure that NP is regretting the E-Blade on the Drow Ranger right now. I really feel like if they had a damage item there in exchange for that, there would have been a couple crucial kills mid-game.
I mean, how many times did we see that Ethereal Blade actually play against AEY?
Yeah.
And it's not like he was ever able to use the Ethereal Blade on himself to be able to dodge Omni Slash. The Diffusal Blade was picked up almost immediately afterwards, after he had that Ethereal Blade. And Shadow's been putting it to good use.
Might have been better if he went for Butterfly or AC instead. Just tank the damage. Don't try to fully counter it. Counters have other counters. You can't counter 15 armor. It's pretty strong.
Push out here. Full out smoke from Wings.
Good.
We're gonna try and wrap and see if they can catch. Can we check out those buybacks? Are they off? Are they off cooldown for
about
NV?
2 minutes left.
So.
Yeah, and not much gold. Most of them are buying out. MKBs. Envy bought a Demon Edge. If they lose this fight on their cores, this could be the end of the game, and it could be Wings taking game 1.
Yeah, I think Wings, they know the timing. They know this is their time to strike. They didn't manage to get the smoke. They couldn't find an initiation, but now they could just go high ground and force the fight there.
See if SVG's able to deward this. I don't know if he'll spot it or not, but he's not quite close enough with his gem.
Already beating on those tier 3 towers, and the Bela Rax is about to fall as well. Glyph is down. That momentary pause doesn't do much to stop Wings. They've already taken the melee racks and do a bit of damage to the range before backing themselves away. They feel comfortable with where they're at. They're going to try and back up and get a better initiation here. NP, they waited out the Moonlight Shadow. That's now gone. And Wings continue their assault on the base. Now the initiation comes out. Faith Beyond pushes back, 1437. MSN has managed to caught Shadow, though, and that's the big kill. He buys back, and he's immediately going to go in. He's going straight to Blink. He's actually going to try and finish this game right here, right now. They go for the tier 3 at the bottom lane. But Blink, he's going to back up and go for 1337, who's managed to get caught by the hook. He will go down again. He has buyback as well. We can still see another full 5-on-5. But if Shadow dies again, Wings may still end up losing this game that they fought so hard to bring back into their hands. Second tier 3 is gone. The melee racks just disappears. Arrows comes
Good
out,
arrow.
nails Faith Beyond. AUI makes the initiation, he pops the Warlock, and the Clockwork's still sitting there stunned. Overthrow goes down, Shadow has already blown his magic immunity as he pushes forward. BKB also being used on Blink, and now they're susceptible to some of these disables. Wings, they feel a little bit exposed here. They're going to strike and back up behind the cover of Faith Beyond's cogs, but a jump over, Eternal Envy tries to go over the cogs, but he's caught. He gets taken down, finger of death, and he's dead for 2 minutes, and now it's going to be AUI's turn. Omni Slash, double force staff away. He's getting back to the fountain, but Wings, they are full health, full steam ahead. They're going to go straight for the drone. They managed to pick up AUI. They have done it. NP, they have lost their heroes.
Oh
no
my
buybacks
God.
available. They're just about to come back up. Wings, they'll have to do it one more time
got two
against the Drone
buybacks.
Ranger and Eternal Envy's Marana.
Okay.
So they'll back themselves away, play it as safe as possible. They're still a little bit scared. They can't end it yet.
The game's not over. It's just mostly even. If they can kill Jug again, this could be it for NP, but they've got to kill the rest of the heroes. They'll force them to buy back and then push across the map and finish the last racks. The target is going to be Jug. Can Wings defend the Jug from the lasso? No, there's no lasso for 50. They've only got 3 heroes.
The Bat Rider was so crucial to be able to get that kill on the Shadow, and now Wings just full up are going to be hitting on the tier 4 towers, and NP have to force some sort of miracle 3 versus 5 to be able to hold here. It's already started off. The arrow going off onto Faith Beyond. Eyesight's going to be able to stall up Eternal Envy. Overgrowth, waited, will go down with the throne. He's already going to be going down. Blake pops the ultimate. They're just going to beat from the throne and take game 1. Wings, an incredible comeback by an incredible team.
How did they do it, man? That is one of the best teams in the world right there. An amazing advantage for NP. They had control of the game, a 2 racks advantage, but a couple small mistakes.